Hello, all, and welcome to Middle Aged Geeks. I'm one of your hosts, Phil, joined as always by my co-host Daz. This week we are going to be reviewing Primate. So this is the latest offering by Johannes Roberts. So for those of you who are new to the channel, we'll be doing a very spoiler-free review with a couple of spoilers at the end. So Daz, I'm going to have a quick little intro to what the movie's about and who's directed it, etc., and then I'll start getting some thoughts from you. So this one is a tropical vacation goes awry when Ben, an adopted chimpanzee, is bitten by a rabid animal and suddenly becomes violent. It's essentially Cujo with a monkey. And I think the director was very straight up and upfront about that was his main inspiration. He loves the movie. Taglines for this one: there's something wrong with Ben and dangerously close to human. I think at an hour and 29 minutes, it's probably the shortest one I think we've done, Daz. What do you reckon? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Brisk.
So as I said, as well as directing the movie, Johannes Roberts also co-wrote it with Ernest Riera. Cinematography by actually an Irish dude, Stephen Murphy. And he's actually worked, he's worked on a bunch of stuff as a cinematographer that I like Say Nothing and Atlanta. I know you're a fan of Atlanta. Blue Lights, Line of Duty. And then the composer of the music was Adrian Johnson, who's mostly done kind of TV stuff. And then finally, the starring, it's actually starring, right? This name kind of got me off guard because I thought she sounds a little bit like, it sounds like a porn star name. So Johnny Sequoia, which I was like, that almost sounds like a porno name. That's the name of the main girl in it.
That's the one, Lucy. Oh,
Lucy.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Must have some seriously interesting parents. Also starring Troy Kutzer, Jess Alexander, a bunch of people I don't know. And then in the role of Ben the Chimp, we have Miguel Torres Umba. And apparently Rob Delaney did a cameo. Rob Delaney plays Dr. Lambert in this. I didn't cop that until afterwards.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's deadly. I think it's doing okay in the box office. Like it's been out for 3 weeks in the States, but only just came out here. So on a budget of 24, it's made like 31 or 32. So I think the fact that it's only just out in the UK and Ireland this week, it might make its money back. So look, with all that kind of stuff out of the way, Daz, what was your kind of opening thoughts on this before we get into specifics?
It's quite a conundrum actually, because on one hand, there was some great moments of tension in this movie, and there was some genuinely excellent, disgusting kills. But those moments were few and far between. I thought kind of the rest of it there were moments that it was quite dull in the middle, which we'll kind of get to, surrounding just a swimming pool where they all localized in the swimming pool. Character-wise, I thought they were all just incredibly annoying. Didn't engage with any of them, didn't care if any of them died, which I think is one of those things with these movies. People just go, who gives a fuck? Who actually cares? But I just thought the way it started, it was very... There's another way to do this movie. I think that would be far more engaging than the way they started this movie. But some of the kills were great. The monkey, I think is it a monkey or a chimp?
Chimp. Are chimps monkeys?
A chimp.
Yeah, they're monkeys. They're not apes. They're not.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever, I don't know. Go on anyway.
Yeah, we continue. But yeah, the chimp is great. Like there's I'm pretty sure it's animatronic for the most part. There might be some
dude in the suit.
Yeah, is there any CGI in it at all?
There's a small bit of CGI, but it's mostly like it's a bunch of different things. Like it's so it's your man Umbra, and then there's puppetry. There's animatronics, as you said. There's a bunch of different things they've used to animate him, especially for close-up stuff of his face when they need it to look a certain way.
Some of the close-up stuff is great when he starts to really look distressed and just looks like he's absolutely losing the plot. And that was kind of good, but yeah, I kind of came out of it going, okay, it kind of ticked the boxes that I think a movie like this is supposed to tick the boxes for, but then I can't stop thinking about so much of the movie that just fucking so infuriatingly poor filmmaking, just storytelling. I just didn't really give a shit. So it's kind of came out going, yeah, that's fine. I didn't really think it was a particularly good movie, and didn't think it was as bad as I was actually expecting. Because when you hear a horror movie coming out in January, you're just like, oh, that's something the studio's just trying to dump in fucking January, February to get it out of the way. But yeah, it was okay. How about yourself? You just saw it now, right?
Yeah, I did. And I suppose, this is the one we're going to be very similar on. Like I was actually thought this was going to be better. just because I heard a lot of really, really good reviews.
It's reviewing
and
very well, actually.
Yeah, and I think that I think that what you're saying there, it works for it and also doesn't work for it. Like it's got that old school creature feature vibe, which is great, and in that the cast are, most of these things, if you've watched it, especially from like the 70s or the 80s, or when you're watching movies like that, you know that the cast are going to be all absolute morons and are going to die gruesomely. So that is great, but at the same time, it makes it so predictable to the point where when we get introduced to the family, the family to start, as in, like when we started, basically when the movie started and we introduced all the characters, I straight away said, right, they're the ones who are going to be alive at the end, and I was exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I knew from the very start, like, okay, I know they're not going to kill that person for these specific reasons, and that's exactly what happened. Like it's there's not one surprise in this whole thing. Like it's written exactly who's going to die. It's just how are they going to die, and there's so many little side plots and stuff that just aren't followed up. You know what I mean? There's like this tangents about this character's relationship with this character's animosity with this character, and they don't follow them. They just leave it there. They kind of, and that's. I mean, I'm not expecting them to do a whole lot in an hour and a half, but just don't bother trying to introduce that kind of storyline if you're not going to go that way with it, because it doesn't make any sense.
Like those moments are so. It's literally two lines. Like, oh, I'm annoyed at you because of this. Oh, I've always been annoyed at you. And the setup from that is so threadbare and just thin plotting, and the characters they're just not developed in any way, shape, or form. They're just like, here's your characters, here's this family dynamic, and all this stuff at the start where she's coming back to the family and their crazy house with the fucking ridiculous swimming pool. It's like a fucking death trap. Just like, but I just wish it would have started a bit more. Just start with the family just there, and they just have the chimp in the house. That's and just show more of the family as a unit with the chimp. So when it starts to turn, you really get a sense of that kind of family dynamic being torn apart by one of the family, kind of this crazy chimp. And it's overtly it's just kind of messy to try add a bit of depth to it, and it doesn't work. You just go and look, it's an hour and a half anyway. Just fucking just use the time a bit more or better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you're not doing enough to, if you're not going to do enough to create as you said, the animosity and give these characters some sort of development, and maybe they have an arc. Well, then just don't bother introducing them. Just have them as the fucking, oh god, throwaway line. I've always hated that bitch, and then you see you're getting she acts a bitch calls. Like we talked about in Alien Romulus, when you have that guy who's a dickhead from the very start. We don't need to even you hear his backstory a little bit, but we don't need to. We know from listening to this guy's a dick. Great. So when he gets killed, fantastic. We're all happy. You're not really good enough to hate the people. No, I didn't like them, but there's not enough to make them, bad guys, really. But I will say, some of their deaths were great. So maybe we'll just start there, Daz, on the actual direction of the movie. Like I think, because I've seen a bunch of this guy's movies, and I would say, despite this one not being very good, it's probably the best thing he's done. Like he did those 47 meters down movies, the shark movies.
Never heard of them.
Awful, absolutely awful. And he did the Resident Evil movie from a couple of years ago, the Return to Raccoon City or whatever it's called.
Raccoon City. Oh, that's abysmal. Yeah.
It's like Claudia Scodelario and a few others in it, I think. That one is absolutely shocking. Yeah, and there, I think, pretty much. And there was one as well with the guy from Top Boy. I think he's in it as well. What's it called? Storage 24. Yeah, so it's based. Do you remember that was like a monster in a fucking warehouse thing? Yeah, he did that as well. Like, so he obviously is into his creature features and his monster movies. But I think that this probably is the best one that he's done. But what did you think of his direction here? You mentioned at the start, poor filmmaking.
Yeah, it's more so because I saw his name attached to the writing aspect as well, and it just doesn't really work. Like it's such a short movie. It's 90 minutes, but even then, there's so much, not so much padding, but there's some excellent kills, and those moments are fantastic, and some sections and scenes of tension that are genuinely excellent. Like, there's a bit in a closet. I think there's scenes like that have been released online, and a couple of deaths later on. But they're all kind of in the last 15, 20 minutes. It kind of ramps it up, and it really, that's why it's so frustrating, because it showcases what kind of a movie it could have been. But there's just a massive lull in the kind of middle section in the movie when they kind of relocate to the swimming pool because the chimp is afraid of water, and it just kind of runs out of steam completely, and it just comes across as very kind of lazy. And I know it's kind of a throwback to old school kind of horror stuff, but it's still people making silly decisions, and there's so much kind of coincidence and manufactured kind of thrills and tension. Like even like in the swimming pool at one point, there's a cable of lights over the top of the swimming pool, and the monkey goes across the lights and reaches down and grabs one of their hair in, like when they're treading water in the swimming pool. And that's fucking terrifying. Then the monkey fucks off and he never does that again. It's like, okay. And just, the tension just doesn't really work in some of the earlier parts when they're trying to get out of the swimming pool and they have to, get a phone. They just need to contact their father, who's fucking left them for fucking 2 days, which is another fun one. But just moments where the characters just seem to, like, they know the characters have read the script, if you know what I mean. They're sneaking out around the house, and not once did they just no one turns on a fucking light. All the lights are off in the fucking house. No one turns on a light, but no one picks up a weapon or something like that to kind of potentially fend off this chimp. It's almost like they know he's not coming in this scene, because it's just very frustrating given the kind of lofty heights that it hits in certain sections toward the end. It's just frustrating. It was like, it's so short, and how are you running out of ideas already? With such a short runtime, it's just so threadbare. Like.
No, I think you're right, and I think when you mentioned the kind of stuff about weapons and all that kind of stuff, like that does they seem to wait until towards the end of the movie before they realize, oh wait, let's just attack him with a spade, or let's just attack him with a stick or something like.
Or at one point she hits him with a stick, or hits him with a bat twice to get him off one of the girls, and then she just drops the bat and runs away. And there's moments where there's a strength differential with this chimp, because at moments you're kind of going, okay, like, it does look like a little chimp. Maybe you could just push it off a fucking balcony or something. And other moments where it's really strong. But then there's a moment with a sliding door where the chimp is trying to open the handle of the door. And on the other side is just one of the girls who can't weigh more than 80 pounds. And he can't beat her in a strength matchup to just open the door. It's just inconsistency like that drive you fucking mental. Like,
I think because you mentioned the swimming pool, Daz, and there's a thing, I don't even know if it's real, the thing that chimps can swim. I'm pretty sure that monkeys can swim, not all of them, same way not all humans can, but they can learn how to swim. But this is the whole thing, they're hiding in the pool because he can't swim. But they're like, there's one point where the guy grabs him, the guy with the fucking puka shell necklace, whatever he has on, he's in the pool. And he decides he's going to try and push him, off instead. I was like, why don't a bunch of you reach up, grab him, and fucking pull him into the water? If you all think he can't swim, just pull him in by the arms. Like, he come over to the edge. He's at you. He's giving you shit. Just fucking yank him in.
Yeah.
Drown his ass. But
it's just kind of
it is. It's a weird. It's kind of it's a lopsided movie a little bit in that way. And I know there has to be setup, but at the same time, even with the horror elements, the best ones are kind of as we get towards the end. The monkey starts getting more and more of a rampage.
I just think they should have, if they place the entire movie in the house, like get rid of the swimming pool. That can be maybe something towards the end for just a crazy scene of tension where they're just stuck in a swimming pool or something. But just the bits in the house, like the bit when they're hiding in the closet and the monkey's trying to kind of sniff them out and trying to find them, that's genuinely terrifying. Something where just leave them in the house, that they're stuck in a room and have to go somewhere. It's a lot more claustrophobic. And I think that just would have worked better, or something to do with like where the monkey is kind of hiding and like he's smart, or he's hiding, trying to find them or something like that, or playing a game with them or something. I think that would have been far more interesting. Just watching them treading water in a swimming pool for fucking 40 minutes. It's just like, get on with it. Like, come on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Why don't we move on then just to the performances? So, for me, I thought I think the monkey is definitely the most enjoyable character. Is him actor. Is like he's getting the proper range of emotions. You're feeling, oh my god, what an adorable monkey, and I'm feeling sorry for him. And he, he lives with his family and he sleeps outdoor in his little his enclosure and all the rest of it. But he's genuine. He seems like a sweet little being, But then when he is going on a fucking rampage, yeah, he's scary as shit. Like I think him and probably the dad Troy Kotsur, they're probably the ones that kind of have the most kind of emotional range. And you shouldn't really be saying about a guy in a suit having more emotional range than all of these other characters. And they're all morons. Like I only remember one character's name, and that's the main girl, Lucy.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know the rest of their names. The rest of them are all absolute morons. And especially the two guys, the guys that they meet at the airport.
Oh God, yeah.
Those two. These are two men who haven't figured out what an internal monologue is, because they're just walking around, just saying everything they're doing. I think I'll have a look at this room. Oh, look at this sweet bed. He's just saying everything. We can see it. Is this audio fucking described or what? I can see what you're doing, you dumbass. They're two absolute melts. And and they're literally just there to get killed. It's like you don't care about them. They're absolute bellends. Who are also, they're so stupid. Like when they get to that house and it's completely silent and all the rest of it, and they just don't seem to think there's anything wrong.
Maybe they're waiting. I guess they're waiting upstairs in bed for us, and they go, "Oh yeah," and then two of them go in two different directions. One goes upstairs and one goes into the basement. She's like, "What? What are you talking about?" But like one of those guys does have the standout moment, and we'll get to that in spoilers. Yeah. It's one of the best deaths I've seen in a while. It just takes its time, and it's fantastic. And he actually delivers a pretty decent performance in those moments of
like I didn't like the character at all, but in that particular thing,
he looks terrifying.
Yeah. He does, yeah.
But like the rest of them, even when we're introduced to them, it's like, why can't you just make them just likable characters? So just get us on board with that maybe just they're likable characters, and we might be engaged ever so slightly and care if they live or die. But straight away on the plane, Lucy walking onto the plane with her two mates, she just has she's talking on the phone on this a video call on speaker, and instantly you're just going, well, you're fucking annoying. That's the most annoying thing to do in a fucking plane. Just personally, I'm just going, yeah, that's what a dickhead move. I hate you and I hope you die. But yeah, she's probably the most capable actor. She's given, I guess, the most to do, but it's not really, she's not the kind of main character as such. I guess she doesn't get that much to do compared to the rest of them, but she's all right.
Yeah, it's hard to they can't really comment on the performances because they've got, like you said, the movie itself is threadbare. The script is threadbare, so there's not really any sort of development for them. So it's basically just look scared for 90 minutes, and that kind of dynamic between her and the dark-haired girl, where there's kind of a bit of a jealousy and maybe something in the past with the two of them. There's something that could be explored there to make it a little bit more interesting, but we only see it, just glanced at it when she kisses the guy that he likes, blah, blah, blah. And then, that's it. That's pretty much it. And back then they're back to just talking as normal. There's no more real aggro between them with the rest of the movie. It's like, but all right. I thought maybe your one would, because obviously when she runs off, I thought maybe she'd try and sacrifice everybody for herself or something to make her or us hate her, really dislike that character, but they don't really do that. She's not that much of a bitch when she's actually trying to actively help people.
Exactly. If you touch on these kind of character traits or history with the characters and their touch points that maybe come back into the script later on when, somebody either sacrificed themselves or it comes to the fore later on and provides, a character development moment or something that just adds to the movie a little bit, but those moments are just in there just for effect, just because later on there's a line or two that somebody says, "Oh, I've always hated you," or something. Just like it doesn't do anything. That's you're not writing characters there. Just very strange. But that's because not only the characters underdeveloped and threadbare, but the dialogue is some of those fucking hokey, awful dialogue you'll ever hear in your fucking life. Like it's just, and all these things, I guess, people could be reading this or listening to this and just going, it doesn't really matter. And I would say that, like, in terms of going to see this in the cinema, this is one of those movies where you it's probably better to watch it with people. Like in my cinema, there was a bunch of girls 2 rows back, and they were all just like chatting away during it. And normally you get pissed off, but I was just like, that's probably the way to watch this, because they're all getting scared together and terrified and stuff. And they fucking loved it, just because they're there just for the kind of scares and the
and to take the
tension
piss.
and the, yeah. And there's nothing really to sit down and get engaged with. Like, I was fucking bored in the cinema until it got scary.
Yeah, I think that like at the start, I said the creature feature thing kind of works for it and against it. Like that's what happens if you're going to make one of these movies. It's difficult to have that depth. And like you said, if people are probably shouting at the screen, going, "It's a B movie. Why are you complaining?" That and I get that, but it's also if you look at something like Halloween, where you've got this other, whether it be a creature or a man, an unstoppable man, you do still have the main character. Like you've got Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie, and she's an actual well-developed and enjoyable character to watch. She's a big part of the movie, maybe even more so than Michael Myers. And whereas in this, none of the characters are anywhere near as interesting or likable as this homicidal monkey, and like, which is wild. And I think that genuinely, I think his performance, because you can see he's done a lot of work and apparently worked with a full stunt team and all the rest of it. Between him and the guys with the animatronics and everything else and the puppetry, that's where this movie shines. Those parts, like you said, in the closet, or there's some other part of that where it's slowed right down. Like there's one part where he's trying to get behind them to get a rope, and we only see him out of focus. But there is still that kind of dread of him, because you just see the little movement in the background, and then he's back into focus again, and he's gone again, and it's just that stuff is great, and
it's really good.
Yeah, so I thought that's definitely where this movie shines for me, is when it comes down to him. I mentioned at the start as cinematography, so maybe you'd be able to shed a bit more light on this, because this movie, despite all the aerial shots and all the rest of it, it wasn't shot in Hawaii. This is shot on a soundstage in London. What did you think of the cinematography by Stephen Murphy?
I thought it was great, and it lends or it just works perfectly with the set. I mean, you spoke there, some of the wides of the house on the cliff face and stuff. CGI is kind of ropey, very ropey, but like the set is fantastic, and there's some like it's obviously very dimly lit for a horror feature, even though no one turns on the lights. And I know in a horror feature you can't have characters turn on the lights because it ruins everything. But cinematography is excellent. There's a lot of lighting from, like when like TVs or just kind of ambient lighting around the rooms, but there's lovely shots as well. There's a great shot in the swimming pool sequence that I kind of hate, but there's a shot where it's just one single kind of pan around. It's the group in the swimming pool, and the camera just slowly just pans around from their point of view around and shows the monkey just sitting at the other side of the room, just watching them, and then pans back around to them. It's very slow and just methodical. It's just really fucking set the scene, and the music is kicking ass at that moment as well. It's just adding a lot of tension. There's a lot of kind of like, there's not a lot of big cuts as well, which, I mean, that cinematography is merging with pretty decent editing in that regard as well.
Yeah.
But it's just, I thought it was very well lit, but the camera work on the monkey himself, and it always comes back to the monkey. Everything good about this movie is to do with the monkey, and some of the lighting and shots on the actual animatronic, especially when it's up close, is excellent. It's excellent. It's so moody and just adds a lot of depth to this fucking crazy character. But I thought it was just, camera work is really, really good. There's one or two shots kind of later on that were a bit kind of like, bit kind of hokey.
There's one that are a few kind of cuts, like you said, when someone's being attacked, and it can be a little kind of hard to figure out exactly what he's biting or what he's smashing. There's a couple of things like that, but yeah, I'd agree. I think, again, you could easily forget that this isn't. We don't get to see too much of stuff outside the house. Or outside the complex, at least. You would be forgiven for not realizing that this was on a soundstage. I think it is shot quite well. Yeah. But look, I don't think I don't really have anything else except for spoiler stuff, to talk about specific deaths. Yeah. So, do you want to put a star rating on this, and then we'll have a quick chat about some spoiler stuff that we enjoyed?
Yeah, it kind of sits somewhere between like a 2 and a 3. Like, I think in terms of story and characters and everything negative about it, it's kind of a 2-star movie, but I think there's enough in there in terms of what it's trying to do when it's kind of ticking the boxes, in terms of the gore and a few scares and the monkey himself. And the music's quite good and it's shot quite well. So I'd probably go for a decent 3 stars, just because I saw it in the cinema. If I saw it at home, it'd probably be 2.5 stars or 2 stars.
Yeah, I
There
think
was some genuine thrills.
yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was great. I'd actually go with a 3 as well. I was kind of humming and hawing between a 2.5 or a 3, but I think the fact that it's like including credits, it's an hour and 29 minutes.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is, and it is for those of you who are horror fans or who want to go back to having like that old school feel. It does have that, because of they don't rely on so much CGI for the monkey himself. Excuse me. So yeah, I would also recommend it, despite the fact that we're only giving it, somewhere 2.5, 3 stars. It still is definitely worth a watch. I can imagine it'll probably do well once it hits streaming as well, when it's under one of those 90-minute headings that you find on Netflix, 90-minute movies, and just throw it on. It's a bit of crack. So if you're leaving us there, thanks very much for tuning in as always, and do all the liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. And we will see you next week. If you want to hang around for the next couple of minutes, we're just going to have a chat about some of our favorite scenes, which are mostly going to be people getting killed. All right. So yeah, that's the spoiler scenes. We might as well go straight into that guy. I believe his character's name is Drew. Is the guy on the bed. And yeah, I love that because they've got that sheer kind of sheet thing that's over the bed, and his face is just about coming under it and stuff. Yeah. And he's a mixture of terror and then also trying to treat it like it's a little kid or an idiot, kind of thing. Yeah. And the monkey's just fucking staring him down. And yeah. It's
because of that sequence is because, again, like all the stuff in the house is generally terrifying, because it's shot really close as well, and is just in the bed, and the bed is all that kind of fabric around it, and the sequence kind of starts with a jump scare where he looks and you see the kind of monkey just kind of almost beside the bed, but then it just goes into just psychological kind of terror where it's just that bit where he's just like, oh my God, what the hell is happening here? And it is that slow reveal of the monkey just pushing his face through the kind of curtain and the see-through curtain and just rising up through his face. And then it's just a slow movement where he just kind of goes up and starts to pin him on the bed more and more. And that guy's acting in this part it's just really good, because he goes from like, yeah, you are a dickhead, but then he just kind of looks scared and just doesn't know what he's doing. And it's just, you're just wondering what's going to happen to him.
Can I ask you then? Did you for a split second think that dude was about to get raped by a monkey? Because
there was a moment when he pinned his hands down and just like, is this movie going to take a fucking weird turn now?
I thought, honestly, because he's like, they're in the bed together, and the way he gets him and he slams down his hands and he says something. I don't know, there's something weird about it. I was like,
oh yeah, he says, take me to dinner first or something.
I was like, is this dude gonna get hairy aped by a monkey? Like, is this? Yeah, it was a little bit. I wasn't sure where that was going to go. It didn't go that way, thankfully.
Yeah.
But
when he puts his hands in,
But his death, Christ. It just reminded me of Mirrors. Do you ever see Mirrors? Yeah. Amy Smart's death and that. Oh, badass.
But it's the slow tear as he puts his fingers in his mouth and just starts to pull, and you see his cheeks start to rip first, and then just pulls, and it's just beautiful because it's not just, you like certain movies, you just see it kind of a jaw being torn off and then they cut away, and they kind of do that here, but then they cut back to him fully there with his tongue just kind of flapping and the monkey playing with the jaw to kind of put it back on and putting it on himself and stuff, and it's just like it's so fucking Silence of the Lambs or something. It's just like that was an absolute highlight, and you get an extra star in a movie just for that scene alone. I think it's just masterful. If the rest of the movie had enough care and attention and kind of pacing and confidence as that sequence, this is easily a 4-star movie. Easily.
Yeah, they are the fun moments. Like, even in the car, the car scene I actually thought was quite good up until I would have liked to have seen her getting killed in more of a kind of a funny way, because that's a decent scene. That's just her and the monkey, and she's been in the movie since the start. Whereas you see the nose ring girl, when she falls down the stairs and she gets her head smashed in or whatever. But it's not as cool as what we see, like your one that has her whole thing of her running. She is going to leave the rest of them behind and jump in this car, and she has her keys, and there's great tension there and stuff. But then they basically just beats the crap out of her in the car. But I would have liked to have seen, her getting out of the car and him figuring out how to use the handbrake or something, and it falls back over. Just something along those lines would have been. I would love to see the actual death. That was a cool scene. She don't know where this fucking monkey is, and she's trying to ring 911, and then he's he's in the passenger seat beside you. Like those kind of scenes, those individual scenes are way better than the group scenes where they're all terrified of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think there should have been more of that. But and the movie almost kind of peaks too soon, because the first sequence is the guy that's going to check out the monkey who's in his cage, who's not feeling too well. He's the vet. It's called over and goes in and then gets dragged in. And you think, oh, that's your intro scene. They're not going to show you too much more. But then you see him kind of come out of the darkness, and then the monkey's hand comes out and just fucking tears the skin off. Straight away, I just go, I love that. Like, what an opening. It's just fantastic. But then, it does that thing 36 hours earlier. It's just, we go back to the kids. But that was pretty gruesome as well. Just a lot of nice, gruesome stuff. But then there's other stuff that, like one of the other guys, you see him getting, well, you don't actually see him, but he's getting
off camera,
beaten to death with a golf club or something like that, kind of out of focus in the background. And it's just, you're just like, oh, I'd like to see a little more of that. Having 2 or 3 good sequences, even a 90-minute movie, is just, you need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. Right, well, will we wrap it up there then, Des? That's a good place to leave it. If you've hung on this long, I'll remind you to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Send us some comments, emails, whatever you like. So yeah, that's it end for this week's episode. We were saying 3 stars. I think is a fairly fair score for this one. So look, thanks all for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you all in the next one next week. I think it might be Send Help. Is that what's out next week? I'm not sure. The Rachel McAdam one, which seems to be reviewing really well.
Amazing. Yeah.
Have a nice week and look after each other, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.